Top Esports.
And I mean, you know, we're going straight into draft. We're not wasting any time, and big things to note. Red side was a big problem the last time that these two teams faced off. It was 5 blue side wins in a row. A lot of that was because of first pick Callistas from BLG. That's been banned by Top Esports. We have ourselves a very different bot lane matchup. JackeyLove going back towards the Senna particularly.
And he is undefeated on that pick right now. It would be really interesting to see as they change to a more scaling draft with some more onus on Tian to have that momentum for them.
I have to say, I love the team fight from both of these teams, and that's my favorite thing because here in the LPL, we love ourselves some full contact team fighting. Throw all your spells at the enemy team and see what hits. Of course, we have reset potential from the Viego, but when you have LPL Lucian, fantastic player of that champion too, he can be helped out with the Taliyah wall, changing the terrain, the Maokai corralling people into the right position. I think that bot lane, whichever one gets ahead here, if the Senna survives or the Lucian gets ahead, that can be a huge factor in this game.
And that has been the factor that has made the difference when these two teams faced off against each other just a few weeks, I guess a week ago. It is a situation where it was very back and forth, but very one-sided through all the games, even though it went all the way to 5. So now we have to see these different strategies for game number 1 and how they play out with that early aggression that TES is going towards.
I'm glad that we've already seen ourselves some adaptation from the last series. They had to have learned. They had 5 games against each other, and here now in the grand finals fighting for that Silver Dragon Cup. So important to see them come out of that series and get themselves some learning from it.
Yeah, I think that's the most interesting thing, and what we were really looking at coming into this one is how will they adapt? How will they change? Because blue side was completely dominant the last 2 times. The last time these teams have faced off. But we're getting into game number 1 now, and it is all on the line. The final best of 5 in our LPL spring split. The final best of 5 to see who walks away with the Silver Dragon Cup. Top Esports have made a resurgence through that lower bracket to make it here to re-meet and revenge against BLG. But BLG, they're in their 2nd finals ever as an organization, and they're looking for their first win. We're getting into game number 1 now, so let's hear those gyos get loud. There we go. Stadium in Chengdu has come alive. And as it does, BLG versus Top Esports kicks off. The most important thing is to see how this early game goes, especially because we've seen dominant early games lead to wins in the series before.
Now, we have been, of course, kind of warning people, doing that quite quick weather check to say that sometimes we do get ourselves some lane swaps. With the way that the bot lanes are positioned right now, doesn't look likely, but with these wards into early river, and particularly with, you know, Tian and Shen walking towards the top side as well, they're just scouting out the fact that there isn't going to be one, importantly so. Knight now getting a ward into the enemy jungle, very, very important. One of the strongest factors for Top Esports is how Tian, when he's off vision, can just control early vision control and get himself onto the map early. So getting that ward down helps BLG fight back.
And he's going to be a primary candidate to getting these late game win conditions online. He's going to have a lot of aggression in his pathing here, and I think he's one of the biggest brain junglers we have in the LPL. I'm very excited. I know he was very emotional about making it to finals, making it to MSI again. Tian being 1-4 so far in his finals, but now trying to make it 2-4.
Yeah, he's had 5 attempts, 1 success, and now he's got himself another one to see if he can improve that record. He's on the Viego, of course, going to be a big part of this team composition. If he gets himself onto the map early, of course, you can flash in with that Spectral War for a stun, very powerful gank tool. Of course, the team fights later, that's where you're really looking to see whether the Top Esports jungler can do something more about that.
Taking a trip to Reset City? Or
yeah, maybe. You know, I've heard that happens occasionally here. It's been a pick that's really been big in the LPL this split. Other picks which have been really big, though, are the 2 that we're seeing on the screen right now. That Lucian Nami gets the early shove in, and that'll help Shun get himself onto either side of the river that he really wants to go towards. And
that's who I want to talk about next, because we've talked about all the avenues, the ways forward for Tian, but for Shun, he's on the facilitation. He's on the Maokai, spacing around team fights, setting up for the rest of the team.
And particularly in this case as well, one of the big things about Lucian Nami is that they hate playing against the Maokai, so it was a takeaway, but it also helps when, you know, you're pulling all the ultimate triggers. When we get later into the game, that can be really, really important, but we'll have to wait for that point. Have to see how much gold they have in pockets before we even reach that. We can see right now, BLG, it's pretty common for them to have a lot of pushing early lanes. Last year, there was an interview from a couple of different players saying that playing as BLG, even in the early game, very, very difficult because every single lane plays very aggressively. Right now, Knight pushing in mid, there's 2v2 pushing in bot lane as well. Now we'll have to see what BLG will do with these pushing lanes.
I think priority is the name of the game here in this series because we saw it lead out to boons for both teams in their last one. We do see Tian coming down here. We had opposite side pathings for both junglers. He's just going to visit mid and look at top side.
I love what Tian's doing there. So Knight as a player occasionally does take very hard trades in mid lane just to secure that push, but it means he's occasionally aware of ganks coming through. Now Shun on the bot side, he's walking in. He can at least drop saplings. He has a ward to put down as well. Realistically, how much can they go towards? Top Esports Knight need to be afraid of a dive here.
They've got a pretty big wave here. All right, here we go. First blood on the table here. BLG trying to execute. They do have the juggle going. Oh, JackeyLove gets out, but no. First blood goes over to Elk, and it is traded right back.
Okay, the root lands onto the tree. Ain't that apparent and topical for this one. JackeyLove walks away with at least an assist. Meiko, of course, is the farming one in this lane. He at least gets himself the ability to stay in lane. Still, though, kill over to Lucian. One of the big things we talked about is that, hey, Lucian, pretty strong when we get into mid-game, but we'll see how much gold he has. This is already a good start, and BLG showcasing once again that their ability to dive bot lanes is very, very powerful. Immediately, 3v3 bot side. This has been their bread and butter the entirety of this split. And Shun gets himself on the board.
Does indeed, and being able to get a little bit of gold early in the bot side has led to so much success in this series in the past. The early kills bot lane literally led to victories in their last best of 5. We'll see if that does remain the same here. A bit of a different style from Top Esports this time around, but we got to look at the objectives now. We have both the Grubbies coming up as well as the Dragon. We'll see which side is favored for either.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got the winning bot lane, you almost assume you're going to go towards that Dragon. I'm trying to think about split push potential with the Grubs after as well, because if you have something like the Azir on the side of Top Esports, reminder, this is the tank Azir because they have that grasp. They won't be going towards the Nash's Tooth, which means that if Top Esports were to get the Grubs to round this point off, it wouldn't necessarily be the same victory for them if they had themselves a Nash's first pick in that mid lane to make the use of hitting those towers.
And we're starting to get to the point where we're getting level 6s. Knight on the Taliyah is going to need to roam out on the side. Tian is the one that's going to start the Dragon right now, and it is going to be the opposite side trades.
I was about to say, so typically when you're diving bot lane, you expect to be able to stick around and maintain pressure. Not to be the case. Viego is going to get himself first Dragon of the game for the Senna. Senna typically is not a champion which has a lot of Dragon priority, but Top Esports, they take the opportunity when it's given to them, and it's BLG who get themselves all 3 of those Grubs on the top side of the map.
And so far, we've seen ships passing in the night between Tian and Shun. In the last series, it was very much, let's go where each other is and let's fight. Yes. This time around, they were really taking a different approach, at least in game number 1. And I think the late game win condition for BLG is setting up those big team fights, and maybe getting those Grubs can help you springboard off that afterwards.
I mean, they already have the Taliyah ultimate in terms of a global to help them be in side lanes, hit turrets, and then move somewhere else to start a fight. So yes, them having Grubs, it can help with that as well. We'll see if they can finish off the set of 6. That's when it becomes a really big issue.
The Grub again?
A Grub again. The full house. Yeah, we'll see if that ends up happening. The Zerg Rush is one of my favorite things to watch in this particular season.
How do you translate that into League of Legends?
You know, well, there is, of course, the Void kind of terminology.
Okay.
They haven't necessarily capitalized on that just yet.
True.
I'm waiting to see if there's anything they'll do with that one in future patches as well. We're seeing that Tian heading towards the top side, wave pushing out for Bin, so he's just going to drop himself a ward in that river. So C369 maybe taking a hard trade.
Tian was up this way. Not going to end up going. He goes for the Krugs anyway. Has been very quiet on the home front of the jungle in a matchup where we expected both these two guys to be very aggressive in their pathing. I think Tian obviously was very confident in his approach against Shun, saying, you know, you're still going to be winless after this. You're still not going to have a championship, and I'll have it all.
I mean, apparently these two, they were kind of coordinating before the trash talk came in, before that finals, to say, you know, let's just go all out, both these players. They know each other very well. They've fought each other an awful amount of times. So many of these players have. And you see that right now, Tian not really looking into the enemy jungle in real earnest, just looking to get some vision and just see where the enemy is. Battle warding, as we like to call it.
Battle warding. Yeah. Also with the move from Knight, going to be a little bit difficult to add on to that a little bit. Now, we are just getting to a point where you had a little bit of an advantage bot side, but for BLG, I want to talk a little bit more about them continuing to get that lead, because you're going against the Senna, you're going against JackeyLove's undefeated Senna, and you've got to have a solution in that mid game to make sure you don't get to 30+ minutes.
That's a good point, because I think if you're going like straight front to back, of course the Senna has really big value when you've got someone stood in front of you, you can heal and shield them. I will say you don't have a traditional tank in the way that you would do with something like an Ornn or even something like a Cassante. I mean, the Renekton helps, particularly when you're at level 6 to level 11, when you're around that kind of mid-game spike. And the Tahm Kench can help a little bit too. It's not quite the same though. It's like unkillable frontline, as we've seen from other Senna compositions, so they do need to be wary. This isn't an instant win front to back. You need to be very careful, particularly once Elp starts getting towards 2-3 items.
Ooh, JackeyLove taking an extra shot from the turret there, about half health on the other end, but we have BLG hovering down this way. Actually looking for a little angle, just gonna get some wave clear here. Now you also have Tian coming down the long way here.
Is he off of vision? No, he's not. He walked over a wall to get there, so BLG would have had advanced warning on that. Again, so much about this game and the way the playmaking happens is about the vision control which leads up to it, because if you know something's coming, you can prepare for it a lot easier. Creme gets himself a momentary push in this mid lane. Knight, however, does have ult. He can get out of that lane, so feels like both these teams quite reserved for game one. Actually, we had the first bot lane dive, which that's the BLG special. They just always dive bot lane.
We almost had one top side, but it didn't work out.
Almost had that. But on the whole, it's been fairly quiet. Now we're waiting to see when that next fight's really going to come through. Got a dragon in a minute and a half. We've got the grubs coming up in 30 seconds. If BLG do get towards 6 grubs, that's a big win for them. If top Esports on the other side of things, though, get themselves 2 early dragons, that's a big objective win for them as well. So maybe we'll start to see some more openings at that point, particularly with some big ultimates on the table.
What I find so curious about this is very reminiscent to game number 5 in their last series, where it literally was just quiet until it exploded. And it feels like both these teams taking a lot of reservation, but also respect into their opponent in a grand finals. I know there was a lot of trash talk, but we actually see now a bit of a lane swap coming down.
A little bit. We've got ourselves rotation towards the top side. Now, of course, this is really to fight about those grubs. Grubs are things which some people overlook, but if you give over 6, that is a big, big problem. BLG not going to be first to the play, but they will be there in force.
369's like, oh, that's not the corner I want to walk into. Okay, BLG moving in. 369 going to slice and dice his way out. Don't miss his pop. Tidal wave coming through. I don't think he has a way of getting out of that one. He's healing so much, and he gets out with the Devour. There's the invade by Tian, too. He gets the kill of the Shun. They are in the pit. The grubbies aren't even the focus anymore. He gets one back, and now Tian has hit those resets. He's looking for more. He flashes out of that Q sweet spot. Ben's gonna go down too. That seismic shove is not enough, and BLG, they try to fight, but they can't keep the fight going.
Oh, top Esports, wonderful response to BLG. Not quite landing their engage in the right way. It will not be 6 grubs over to BLG, which we said would have been a big win for them. It's a denial of them, and top Esports come through, and with that, they find themselves as an organization at the LPL. 9,000 total kills. Big moment in this early game. Top Esports getting a really good early fight, particularly shout out to Meiko with that Devour, reset things incredibly well. And now BLG, they're not going to have that same gold lead, which we said they can run away with so easily. I don't think this part of the fight is bad. You get the flash out of the Renekton, very important thing. This is where things go a little too far, though. I think that shouldn't just overstay as welcome. We can really see the value which Meiko has had as well. Meiko, of course, been such an addition to this roster. Massive first player of the game for him in this all-important grand finals.
JackeyLove and Meiko, tried and true duo you never thought would happen, but it has been incredible, and honestly the way they played on the back of that fight was insane. BLG having a little bit of trouble keeping it together here, and they are that early game composition, at least more so than top Esports, but they have so much advantage now. You have Meiko with a huge lead, and Tian's going to take a second dragon.
Yeah, and so just capping off these early game objectives, the things that we were talking about, saying, well, okay, if you give an over 6 grubs to BLG, big moment for them, split push threat. But if top Esports get 2 early dragons, that's big for them too. It's going to be a Cloud Rift. It's not necessarily the biggest thing, but now cross map potentially on the other side.
They're a little scared to move forward. Okay, there's the double as oh, he has damage. Oh, JackeyLove. Okay. I was going to say, you had flash. Make sure he uses it. The heal not going to go down just yet, but BLG looking to make plays on top side.
Yeah, they tried to go for a cross map. It's not the cleanest. They forced the flash out of the center, though, and that's a small victory, I suppose. However, see Tian on Fog of War.
They're in the bush.
What's happening here?
Oh, he catches him. I don't know if he realized that On is right next to him. He does have Creme coming over. And nothing else can go. They don't get to walk mid, though, and they'll lose a plate because of it.
And of course, you've got the 3 grubs now on top Esports. They have some extra tower damage to bring to bear at the same time.
Fog of War,
again, Tian just being a blocker towards this mid lane. Has he gone too far? He does have himself.
Oh, the flash from On. Oh, my goodness. Tian just mind gaming him.
Yeah, uses the ult to get out. So one of the big things about Viego, very hard to pick him off. He can just ult backwards, ult away from the play because he goes unstoppable. And it means that BLG, they've been trying to snatch and grab at a couple of plays for the last few minutes. They haven't quite found themselves a big advantage just yet, though. Top Esports really answering well in this early game, despite that early dive being a big bonus for BLG.
I think that just shows that there's been a lot of growth for Top Esports, not only through their JDG series, but back here in the finals against BLG, who they faced before. Meiko and JackeyLove realizing we just go with things that work for us, and they go with the Senna Tahm Kench that has been so dominant for them.
Yeah, no, they banned away that Kalista. It was a big thing as well. They kind of got themselves apparently into a bot lane matchup, which is working better for them, at least around these skirmishes. They get themselves a plate from this top side. Again, if you've got the Lucian Nami, particularly Elk and On's Lucian Nami, you don't expect the enemy bot lane to be walking around getting plates. They've got themselves something there, though, and now it really goes to show how good these players are on the side of Top Esports as well. BLG, realistically as an org, they've never come into a split as favorites. This is their first time, but it does not mean they're going to be without contest.
They will absolutely contest you every time. This is, again, would be their first finals win if they do take this best of 5. But going back to the Meiko point, if you know, you're tuning in now for the first time, if you're here catching the latter half of our playoffs, maybe Meiko looks a little bit different. Maybe he's not in a black and white jersey this time around. It's his first split off of EDG, and he has absolutely shown that he was the crux of that team, and he has been a beautiful influence on TES.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. You know, Meiko, 1,100 games thereabouts for EDG over his career. Moves to Top Esports, and in this first game of the finals, you understand exactly what he brings to a team. So that BLG, they try to go towards that Herald. Top Esports, they move people up in numbers and kind of force them away from that. BLG not having an easy time with this early game. They're going to have to find themselves a way back in.
And we do have those first item spikes really coming up, and it feels like Top Esports want to utilize that. As Ben will see a roaming Tian going towards bot side, but it has really been about Tian kind of bodyguarding Top Esports this entire game so far.
This is a classic for Tian, right? He's so good at kind of setting up that framework for the rest of the team. You can see that BLG now, though, they are starting to get some saplings into the enemy jungle, some wards as well. This is where the game is going to get very, very interesting. BLG did not explode the early game. Top Esports, they've answered well. They have themselves a slight gold lead, and they have themselves 2 dragons as well, potentially getting up to an early soul point in just a few minutes. Need to see BLG use their mid-game power. Taliyah ultimates, the Lucian Nami stuck in this mid lane as well with a bit of vision control to start going forward aggressively, and force the Maokai as well to see if they can start accelerating this game before, as you mentioned, you know, the double long-range carries of the Azir and the Senna starts to stack up as well and become a real problem in the late game.
It's going to be curious how BLG try to approach this, because Elk is going to have some hands on him, at least to dodge out in these team fights especially. And some of that...
He's an Elk, he has hooves, you know?
True.
It's worked very hard to get to this point, yeah.
You know, well, maybe he'll just use his weight, swing it around a little bit. You know, an Elk weighs almost 1,000 pounds. It's almost...
That's nasty.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
Jeez. I think maybe it's Top Esports who needs to be careful becoming roadkill on the other side then.
All right, we're looking back mid now, though. We have some collapse. Lucian isn't going to pull the trigger on anything just yet. We have those objectives coming up, at least the Dragon in 50 seconds. So I expect BLG to try to maneuver some vision down that way.
But as it stands right now, you can see that 369 on the Renekton versus the Aatrox had the run of the lane. As you tend to, it's not a big lead, but it's something we can keep pushing in the mid lane. Elch starting to put out some damage, but JackeyLove trading back just as well. It is really hard. And what that means is that it's hard for BLG to get themselves a good entry towards the bot side of the lane.
And that's a second item spike for Elk. You weren't able even to chunk JackeyLove to half because of the sustainability that Senna brings. So that is the curious spotlight for me, because both bot lanes have been so crucial to these two teams.
Huge moment as well. We talked about the Lucian power spike, big moment there, but particularly Profane Hydra, not Propane Hydra, makes me sick all the time. Profane Hydra being brought up by Bin. Now Bin can be a huge flanking threat. He has himself a teleport, just gets himself the first point, and Elk's starting to jump forward again.
So this is the kind of gameplay you expect from Lucians in the LPL. Fog of War gameplay is how Elk will stay in this game.
Thing is, despite the fact that Elk has done some good damage here, it doesn't buy them access into bot river. So we were talking about, can BLG set up towards bot side? The answer is no, they can't, despite the fact that they had the Aatrox with that first item spike. So BLG choose to cross map instead. They did return to that Herald earlier. They picked up that objective. Gonna get some gold on tonight. Knight in their last series wasn't necessarily the main character of the 5-game win that BLG had, but on the Taliyah, getting extra gold in pocket, you can't count this guy out either. This Taliyah may be a difference maker in the big playmaking we see later into the game.
Yeah, you might think of Knight as just that mechanical mid laner, the golden left hand, can dominate 1v1s, but he has shown that he has a lot of that flexibility here. We're seeing 369 hover over mid.
You can see that everyone's hovering over mid, though. It feels like everyone's got eyes on it. It is, but for who? And who's going to get surprised by this one? 369 has himself the dominance, has himself a flash. Here's the teleport.
Top Esports are the one to pull the trigger here. Going to try to get an angle. There's a nice little root coming in from JackeyLove. Just going to get the TP out. So honestly, BLG will take that.
They will, because I mean, BLG, they just took a top lane out of turret, and Top Esports, it's not like they had themselves a cross map going somewhere else while they're angling towards that mid lane. So it is just a teleport. There is no extra trade available for this one. I guess what they do is they stop BLG potentially making a wave crash play onto mid lane with a Taliyah ult, because of course once these mid lane turrets go down as well, the game changes an awful lot. In fact, BLG, as soon as they take down those outer turrets, particularly with that Taliyah ultimate, very, very strong at finding ways with these snappy engages in the way that BLG have really become specialized towards the Top Esports. Need to be very careful now that BLG is starting to get more proactive.
They're actually going to try to move on this top side. Knight's going to burn his flash soon, trying to tank it up though. There's a lot of damage from those rocks. 369 going to go right back in. Here comes Ben. He's able to join the fight here, but is it too little too late? 369 not able to get the close down on Shun, and he just goes down to Knight.
And Tian tries to make something happen, but they can't get the reset. The Viego doesn't get that value. At least Top Esports get themselves a counterplate. They have themselves the Azir with the demolish in the bot side. 3 grubs ticking on that. It's going to be a tower, at least a tower for kill. All in all, not going to be a massive explosion, but again, testing the waters. BLG is starting to get to the point where Top Esports cannot disrespect their damage.
And I think we're starting to see what the side lane can offer here as well. Knight versus Creme, an interesting matchup nonetheless, but we got to take a look at this top side play.
No, just before this, we saw that Creme used his teleport on bot side. He can't teleport towards that top side. It's a pretty strong play onto the Maokai in terms of the initial damage, but they can't finish it off. And then the flash after this. Great response from Shun. Stops the second part of the Renekton coming through. That's why it looks a little bit awkward. If 369 had managed to connect with that slice, would have got an extra bit of mobility, but Shun manages to outplay.
Really close-knit fights in that top side of the map to get BLG back in a little bit of the driver's seat. The thing is now, though, they're already down 3 dragons. The decision-making is not in their hands.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So BLG, they need to find themselves some ways to potentially break this mid lane outer turret and then the bot lane outer turret as well. Once they have fallen, and they can get these saplings into the enemy jungle, a couple of wards as well. I think that's where Top Esports can maybe be pulled apart. I think Top Esports very, very good in straight front-to-back fight.
Dude.
Nice, but Elk on this Lucian. Look at this item supply. So disgusting here in the mid lane.
God, it's been so nice to see Elk feel a lot more confident over these last couple years. Now it's an engage from Creme trying to get the angle there for the Emperor's Divide, but he can't do it. Now Top Esports left wanting a little bit. A couple ultis used by BLG. They want to follow him up. Devour from Meiko saves Creme's life.
All of this starts from just the fact that Elk and On are bodying this mid lane in terms of the trades. And now here comes the Taliyah wall. It's just going to be zoning off for the turret. Mid lane, outer turret. Most important objective in the next few minutes for BLG has been claimed. Big moment for them, and it comes from the AD carry.
And a big conversation about BLG has been, do they know what to do if they don't have a lead past mid-game? They're showing us that they have some fight left to give, even if Top Esports have had control of this game so far. Now they have gold lead. Now they have that pressure in the mid lane that's gone, so they can go into this dragon fight a little bit more confident.
And it's just in time as well, because if they weren't finding this right now, then it would be a threat of, okay, what happens around this dragon? Now, of course, there's going to be a minute until that happens, but with BLG taking the mid lane out of turret and taking this fight at a time where their ultimates will largely be back in time as well, means that with mid lane out of turret, bot lane out of turret taken in one fell swoop. Once again, BLG just run roughshod over the map and start claiming a lot of territory. Big moment.
That'll be all 3 outer towers now. Top Esports trying to answer back a little bit of top lane pressure themselves, but gotta wonder if there is going to be enough gas in that tank for a second fight around that dragon. But it is also a position where I said Top Esports has decision-making power right now. They could choose just not to go after that one because they have the Senna, they have those scans, they can force BLG to make those decisions.
That's a very fair point, but whenever I look at BLG getting this kind of map control and stuff like this, you get that little hair up in the back of your neck, a little bit of that sort of thing. Oh no, what happens if we don't close the game now? Because BLG are so lethal when you give them angles into again, very close in gold. Elk jumping forward again, has himself that culling if he wants to pull it. Top Esports need to be very, very careful of the 3-item Lucian.
Dragon in 5. Top Esports getting pulled to the back there. JackeyLove not having any help left. Oh my god, Elk is going forward. He is going to get the Dawning Shadow back and a ton of damage in his backside too. That is going to be the Dragon started up by Top Esports.
Okay, Top Esports get themselves into River and huge chunk back onto Elk makes this fight even again. BLG, they have the flank though. Bin, again, he has the flanking build.
The Bin flank could be the world ender here. Here comes the Weaver's wall across. Shun is in the pit. Shun gets it. He denies the soul. The Devourer going to save out Creme yet again. They have a front to back that looks really good for Top Esports from here. Bin can't get out of the back of the pit just yet. Finally dashes over and things settle down a little bit.
Oh my gosh, so we get ourselves BLG, a really important moment for them. They delay the soul. Close run stuff though. I really thought they were going to give over 1 or 2 kills. But we have to keep in the back of my mind, you give over, 1 kill. What happens with the Viego? Viego starts to reset. This is a big win condition. At that point for Top Esports, Elk jumping forward again.
Oh my god! Okay, that damage spike is there. Lord Doms has been completed, and a 3-item Lucian has come to town.
Yeah, just in case anyone's complaining about Lucian as a champion, like, oh, no one can play this champion. Welcome
Watch
to
the LPL.
Welcome to LPL. We don't even get to see the chunk before this from the AD carries before this point. Creme tries to jump forward onto Elk, and then the flash, fantastic. Very hard to flash out of its combos on the whole, but just to make it happen.
It's been a couple times now. Creme hasn't been able to make that lockdown happen. Again, the newest member of Top Esports with Meiko, obviously, in 369, but also the youngest of all these guys and the least tenured. Being a youngin around 4 goats is definitely difficult, but we'll see if he can do it here.
Absolutely. I think Creme has gone from strength to strength. This game's been not the cleanest for him so far, but then again, first game on a final stage, can't necessarily blame him.
First game in your first finals, it's all right.
Yeah, I'm not, but the thing is, right, you can understand why, but for this player, he's got to stand up. He's against Knight in that mid lane as well. Knight, one of the greatest mid laners that the LPL has ever produced on an MVP spring.
I was about to say, our MVP for spring. Now, we're looking for. This is the style that BLG need to find. They're looking for seismic shoves into the damage from Elk.
See what Top Esports are doing right now. Remember all of the damage that Elk was doing in the last couple of minutes? Top Esports said, we don't like that. It's not great for our health.
Fun. I don't like
medical insurance is not recommended that we stand in front of this. So what they say is, well, what if we send every single person in the mid lane so he has to all into everyone? You see, that's how you do it. That's what they're trying to do. Overload numbers in the mid lane to stop Elk taking over the game. Huge item spikes. Could be what BLG used to fight their way back into the game even more. Again, remember, Top Esports actually had a very good early game, considering the composition which BLG have, the pushing mid, the pushing bot. Top Esports won that first fight. It has been Elk, really, with this Lucian power spike, which has given BLG a fighting chance, and now an advantage in the mid game.
And I think a quiet factor that's really going to start coming to a head here is how Bin and 369 affect the backlines, right? If 369 gets on Elk and there's no peel, he's dead. The same way for Bin on JackeyLove. So I think now that we're getting to the point where these guys are going to have such an influence, it's rightfully so that it's Bin and 369.
These players, they've not necessarily been the focus of the... Oh my god, this...
Dude! Oh my god. Well, I said that's the combo they wanted to do, and they definitely did it. That's a dash forward from Elk, and not the shot going to land, but that is bread and butter, what they want to do.
That is so dangerous. They give up vision around the mid lane, and Elk, once again, shows off how sharp those antlers are. They're going to push in towards this mid lane in a turret. I think Top Esports are very lucky this isn't a Baron going with it.
I cannot believe we've gotten to this state with such a tough climb for BLG in that early game. They have come alive, and it's off the back of Elk, a guy who has made his name on BLG, who has made his name with On even since his time on Ultra Prime.
Here comes the Taliyah ult. BLG just pushing the pressure ever forwards.
Top Esports, they can't get out of here. They're stuck between a rock and a tower. As now Creme going to show up to do a little bit of that long-range poke damage. He is on 2.5 items now, but they're actually going to survive under this tier 2 down here. Tian is right around the corner.
This fog of war.
Oh god, Elk is just so deadly, man.
The fog of war is nasty. Now it's the Maokai ult again. Ult after ult.
There we go, tidal wave. Bring all your nature masses as they will affront Top Esports under turret. But Meiko able to make the difference there, able to tank down some of that. But you see some of that spacing that BLG can use.
Oh, Oh, again, I'm really quite surprised that no one died there, Mazel. That's how they're like, oh, again, it's another combo, it's another ult. BLG, they have a number of tools to really punish top esports when they're kind of stuck in this one area of the map, whether it's the Maokai ult with the tidal wave of the wall. The ability to change space on the map is so important, and this is the play which really broke open this last phase of things. Knight and Elk catch the combo. Catching both in the shove is what makes this play. Otherwise, the Devour comes out and the Senna ends up living. Because it catches both of them, the positioning a little too close from Meiko, Knight punishes so hard with Elk backing up with damage.
Really good combination so far, and Elk sitting at 3-1 now, almost on 4 items on the Lucian. We said that this can be a big carry for BLG, and he is. Okay,
so we got ourselves 20 seconds until Chill Dragon, but top esports have elected to not put any vision towards bot side of the map. Well, they've been pushing on the bot side anyway for the last few minutes. Not like they've had themselves that option, but here goes Shun.
Okay, Shun going in. The Bramble Smash not used yet. Elk getting some damage out, but look, 369's on Elk now, and everybody's found the connection, even with that twisted advance there by Tian. And so they do find the fight. Now they'll move to the Baron.
Doesn't matter that they're on Soul Point. They go towards top side instead and take 2 huge kills. Top esports, this should be the Baron. What hero plays have we got left from BLG?
Gonna try to get in. Shun is not there for the steal, but a lot of damage can be done. Weaver's Wall used already. Throw some of those rocks. Top esports just gonna commit to it right now. Ben is on the other angle here. About 4,000 on the Baron now. We're getting low as it should just go down. Top esports gonna pull away from it. They do end up securing the objective. Nice seismic shove there. Q sweet spot. Spin trying to fight back, but nice Emperor's Defied from Creme. They do end up fighting one back onto him, but it's JackeyLove who's gonna come up clutch on the other end of it. Ben on the other side though, tried to go with JackeyLove. Oh my God, Ben, you monster! He doesn't find JackeyLove though, as he does with that Q sweet spot. It's not gonna be enough.
Such a frantic Baron. Have we got any other place to look towards? Well, the big thing is now top esports have been delayed so much at retreating towards the Baron. They're not going to get themselves Soul. They're going to have to give that one up towards the side of BLG. But the fact they get that Baron against the run of play, it felt like, is still huge. Both of these teams throwing plays back and forth against each other, picking off the carries in important moments. Means that this game maybe has a couple of twists left back and forth. JackeyLove survives with the Baron buff. Important for him, means that he'll have one lane of pressure at least.
Ben sticking in that fight is insane. The man is a boxing legend in League of Legends, apparently, as we take a look back at it.
And even in game 1, feels like we've got multiple rounds with some heavyweights. Shun goes too deep. Again, feels like a similar kind of play towards the grubs we saw earlier in the game. Gives over an early reset. I think Elk's position here as well is very, very ambitious. If you're bursting the first target, yes, it's great, but they don't win that first kill. Turns things around, so Elk and Shun, not really well positioned. Top esports punished well, but there's still a lot of damage left from the side of BLG. Even with their AD carry down, really does feel like Knight and Bin managed to play out the spacing of this fight very, very well to at least put top esports into a difficult situation. We'll come back to live, and Creme's had some Sonya's.
Oh my goodness, he's on the other side of the wall. There's the Emperor's Divide, his own wall going up, but the culling not going to be enough to take him out. He is out of the fight now, though.
Close run stuff. Creme can teleport back into things if he really needs to, but I don't think he feels necessarily pressured to. There's no objectives up on the map just yet. So, reminder, top esports still do have some Baron buffs because they just about survived. They've been delayed in using it, but they're going to use that to push down mid lane. BLG, they're forcing them to be grouped up right now and respond to this push.
They do end up getting the final outer tower now. Top esports feeling a little bit more confident. Also coming into their comfort zone. Something we talked so much about is JackeyLove on the Senna. Yes, he's undefeated, but he's also the late game scaler right now. And that damage from Creme is going to really start coming online now that we're getting to 2-3 items.
Yeah, even in that last fight, there are you start to see some of the reasons why JackeyLove is so famed for his Senna. He's had a couple of highlight plays from this class already. They're continuing to push forwards with the Baron buff. BLG, they can't really flank in the way that they want to. They're looking for combos. They're not cleanly finding them right now. Shun, can you throw an ult across?
Go for it just yet. Turret getting low. Okay, we got a 1v1 between Ben and 369. Oh, 369's got that all day! Come to the king and you better not miss. 369 with a solo.
Oh, and he ults in with that Dominus and gets himself a very important solo kill. It felt like BLG were maybe looking for a big play in the mid lane. They can't now. They don't have been able to look for a flank teleport or anything like that. Huge moment from the top laner of top esports as the remainder of this Baron buff gets 2 mid lane turrets for them.
The stark contrast between this game one of this series and the entirety of the last series we saw between these two is insanity. The fact we're getting such back and forths and these two guys going at it yet again.
Bin elects to go for this trade as well. That's what we're really highlighting in this replay. He comes out of the brush, tries to chunk him out. Now you understand why. If you end up forcing the Renekton back, then he can't keep up that lane of pressure with the other Baron buff which top esports have, but he loses his life for it and ends up kind of just doubling down on a bad decision for them. It's still within touching range of gold at the end of this. Top esports, they have themselves the gold advantage, but it's not that much. The advantages they do have, though, are the fact that they have an Azir getting towards critical late game tank mass, which is really nasty. And you have the Senna as well starting to stack up. So the next team fight we go towards, just look to see how obnoxious it is to try and take down those long range carries.
And I think a saving grace for BLG is that they did deny the soul for a second time in a row. If they were already on the Elder count, I think it'd be a lot more difficult to approach this game right now. But the fact that they've been able to delay top esports is huge. They'll need to continue capitalizing on that.
Well, so BLG, we said they're kind of on the back foot. They don't have themselves a lot of vision control now. No wards actually even into the river of top esports, which means that it's very difficult for them to mount a defense. 2 minutes until the Dragon, though. They have some ways to weasel there into whatever area of the map they would like to do so. But when they are doing this, just have to keep in mind that on the other side, there is a lot of ability to now one-shot the carries from BLG. When Lucian jumped forward earlier, he was taking chunks. When he jumps forwards now, he might just straight up die.
And I'm taking a look at the builds for BLG on the other side as well. About 4 items for both Knight and Elk, almost a 5th there for Elk himself. It is that Morello's that was completed for Knight.
It is, and it's just nice for a little bit of extra flat pen and just the ability to potentially stop some of that Senna healing being the difference maker. Even something like that Renekton Q, just taking the edge off of that can be the extra inches you're fighting towards in these plays. So a minute until Dragon now. Have we seen any advances from BLG? They managed to claim some vision in their bot side jungle. A little bit towards the bot side of the map. I think they get themselves that bot side scuttle as well. That's important. It means that they're not playing completely blind. They don't have to play into fog of war from top esports. And now we get towards the point, one mistake potentially ends the game. You have resets on the side of top esports, but on the side of BLG, you know, if you give even, you know, the resets to World Ender on Aatrox, maybe that move speed ends up ending the team fight as well. So both of these teams, no mistakes allowed now.
One slip-up can make the difference between a Game 1 victory and a Game 1 loss. Tian on the other side actually has an angle. Creme misses the engage again, but Tian, he has the angle here on the other side. He's trying to get it, but he gets damage right back to him. Going golden is Creme, who went right back into the fight under the Sun Disc, but he dashes his way out with those shifting sands. Nobody dies yet again, but we have the tussle we've been getting all game.
You can see the damage numbers from Elk. He almost throws the life for it again. We were saying if he jumps forward, good chance he dies now. Now we see 369 caught on the flank angle. Might have to ult early.
Oh, Ben's trying to get a little revenge on him here with a little help from Knight too. 369 going to slice his way out of that one. Has the rest of the team coming down the other side. Actually, BLG chasing them down, but they'll take primary position over the Dragon.
But it also means double teleport off from top esports. They've recovered from that mid lane fight and get themselves into the front to back position. No flanks available just yet.
All right, Tian is here. There's the Weaver's Wall to block off the Dragon. They need to try to burn this before they can get it, but Tian's right on the other side of the wall. The Weaver's Wall goes down. Top esports right back to the fight. Bin is looking on the angle here on the other side, but can't get anything over. Dragon is just going to be secured by top esports. The fight after, though, Vaughn gets chunked, and here comes JackeyLove. He flashes forward. Bin can't find the angle on the other side. He does go in. He gets the flash Q, and now BLG can find the fight. Big seismic shove there as well. They're going all the way in. Creme uses the Emperor's Divide, but they can't get Shun. Nature's Grass coming back, but look at Tian the whole time. Reset City was approached, and it is a tussle to be loved by BLG and top esports.
Top esports walk away with the soul, but BLG walk away with more souls of enemy champions at least. It's a, what, 4 for 3, all things said and done. BLG walk away with more kills, and Knight in particular, alongside Bin, being huge difference makers in that fight in terms of the fighting potential. But now we have Elder unlocked. Now we have that soul over to the side of top esports. We really need to see whether that will be a huge combat difference maker later on.
And I think this situation is so intense. The resets for Tian are what you're looking at, but Knight did almost 8,000 damage in this fight.
Oh my gosh, Knight on the Taliyah. He is a late game monster. This champion has done so much work for him. See that JackeyLove doesn't quite get the finishing kill on. It's a big moment. He ends up kind of putting himself out of position, which then allows them to play without that AD carry, but they are still playing with resets. You have all of these moving pieces. Resets, AD carries down, but of course at the end of it, Knight really ends up picking up the damage that they need, and they go towards the Baron now.
And now BLG are the ones to take their step forward. The Baron already getting burned. Can Tian get over the wall and steal it? Is this the difference maker? He's in there, and he does not get it. He will not die after as the Devour comes in last second clutch. BLG get away with the big purple worm.
Okay, so I think really a lot of this comes from the ending of that Dragon, because top Esports lose the fight, they lose control of the map, which means that BLG get the Baron. Now we need to see whether they can use this to wrangle the map into their favor before stuff like the Elder comes on the table. Yeah, it has been such a close game in this game. I love this. I love this because we had a 5-game series between these two teams in the upper bracket just before this. And of course, coming down to this as well, it does come down to a flip, but I think Tian was always putting himself in harm's way to go towards this. It is a 50-50. It comes down to a 50-50. He just about gets away with it.
Elk comes out the better for it. He is now on full build, having completed that Bloodthirster final item. Get a little bit sustained so he can keep up with JackeyLove.
And that's really important because we've seen time after time, Elk will jump forwards, but someone's managing to turn some damage back. If he gets himself some sustain, maybe it allows him to take those chunks, walk back, hit a minion wave, and then fight again. With the Baron buff coming in, BLG, what are they going to look towards to really turn these screws? They're going to get themselves this inner tower towards the bot side. Top Esports, do they have any teleports to use? Not quite yet. They can't do flank teleports. They might just have to try and just weather this storm.
The storm do be a brewing. As they try to collapse over bot side, there's about half health on that tier 2 here. We have mid lane pressure coming out from Knight. Does have the Weaver's Wall to move over to the side lane. They aren't going to go for it just yet. But again, we got to watch the combos. The Tidal Wave, the Nature's Grasp, plus the Weaver's Wall.
See particularly that Mark.
Oh my god, Elk is just stepping up into all 4 members of Top Esports and being rewarded for it. Tidal Wave on top of it, Nature's Grasp, everything, and Meiko's already gone. Creme gonna join him soon. He can't get the sweet spot though, but that is a huge siege on bot side, inner turret.
How do you defend a siege against these ultimates? Well, the answer is you don't, apparently, for Top Esports. It's gonna be multiple synced waves heading into the base at once. The Baron buff is massively turning the screws into Top Esports base.
Top Esports came in with a different strategy. They got that undefeated Senna for JackeyLove. They wanted to take the scaling. Now they got to fight their way out of this one. 369. He's on the back line here. He does have a little bit of damage to be done, but the rest of BLG pulling away very nicely. And I think we've seen this time and time again from BLG. They know when to pull back.
Just about. I mean, it's very important to do that in this game, particularly against the Viego, because the Viego gets one reset, as we're saying for most of it, particularly late game. You know, I would take any of these champions on the side of BLG, just pick up that corpse and say, I'm going to use those regular abilities. Anyone there could be a team fight difference maker. Top Esports, they survive, but their base is broken. 2 inhibitors down. They need to be wave clearing very heavily now. Something about the tank Azir build, the big difference between this and the full AP, Nash's Tooth, everything, is that you do lose out on some wave clear for that. And now you're still going to be able to wave clear. You're in Azir. Let's be honest. You're still able to wave clear. But it's not quite the same ability to just play wave defense and maybe give themselves some breathing room on the map. Top Esports, how do they overcome BLG, who have control of the map?
There is no breathing room. There is no saving grace right now. Elders in 1:20. You're getting barreled down your top side here. And Elk is just putting the shots right into your head every single time. That's a tier 2 down.
This is textbook Lucian play. Use the Fog of War, you jump forward with your ultimate, with your teammates nearby if you can help it, and you just take those health bars down. Top Esports, they back off from that turret. They have 2 inhibs down already. They might be facing the tutorial League of Legends where you take down every single inhibitor. Beyond that point, can they survive to the Elder, though, is the important thing. They just need to survive towards that. Maybe they can go for a Hail Mary around that objective.
Elk, known by the Chinese community as the husband of the league, but definitely known to me as a carry right now on the Lucian. It's really nice to see him thriving with On, where I feel like they were so good together, but maybe not the brightest when they were apart. Now we see Elk stepping up, but maybe too far. Creme can't get it again! How many times have we seen this game?
Fantastic disengage play from BLG. He's really tried, folks. It's not for lack of trying, that's one thing for sure. He's been trading flashes for flashes, but not able to get that key pick onto the carries. Really has felt like BLG are all locked in when it comes to the micro. However, Top Esports, they have managed to survive just about over to the Elder. They're teleporting in. This is their moment if it is going to happen.
Try to find resets for Tian. Keep JackeyLove peeled for and try to take a front to back. Oh, he doesn't really have a way out, so they're just going to go right back in. Culling is used. There's the Emperor's Divide. 369 has found the backline, but he has been right on him, and they're going to try to take him out. That is already shooting down, so the Elder Dragon is up with no jungler from BLG.
369 has teleport. Big thing here means that he can teleport back in after having his HP bar shredded. And yes, the smite being down means that BLG, they can't go for a 50-50. They'd have to look for a fight. Top Esports, they had to survive the wave so far.
They have TPs. They have TPs. If they commit to the Elder Dragon, they could try to end the game.
Game 5 was ended by a TP backdoor around an Elder. Can we see it again? Game 1 of the finals.
Game 1. They actually found an angle here. Elk is so confident on this Lucian. He has stepped up every single time.
You can see that right now, BLG, they lose their jungler, but they can just keep threatening the fact that Creme doesn't have teleport. Now it's Top Esports being bullied out on the bot side of the map, despite the fact they got the kill on the jungler. It's back to the Elder we go, potentially.
And Shun's going to be up soon if they can delay the fight. 369 getting caught inside. They have rest in Top Esports. BLG, you have to commit to this and get out or you are done for, as they are getting completely collapsed on. Elk is the one they try to engage on. He puts damage right back into Meiko, as Bin has now found the flank angle yet again. Can't find that Q sweet spot in the end. BLG will back away, but they bought enough time for Shun to come out towards this Elder.
Oh my gosh, the mind games and the vision control, the player on teleports is all making sure this fight towards the bot side is so slow. Elder started again.
We have Shun coming up the side. All right, we got a 5-on-5, a decider for this game number 1. Elder does reset. 369 trying to get on the other angle here. Tian was looking for a potential flank, but realizes he needs to be in the pit.
Bin doesn't have World Ender, but he has a flank position. What can he find? He's spotted out by Meiko. He's not going to be shut down just yet. Wave slowly pushing into Top Esports, and the Elder's going down.
Be really careful. There's the Nature's Grasp. Are they going to use the Tidal Wave Grasp? Oh my god, they got Meiko. BLG, they're moving forward. 369 has found Elk though, and maybe they get the damage there as now, oh, Inverse Divide not going to hit anybody there. Elder is getting low. 369 on the other side, but he can't keep it going. And Ben has made the difference. Tian, is he going to do it? No, he gets shut down by Elk with a couple double taps. And JackeyLove getting chased down by the wings of the World Ender as Ben comes up clutch. BLG come up clutch, and they'll look for a Game 1 victory.
They only needed 1 corpse for a reset, but they end up giving and donating 5 corpses to BLG. They fall in Game 1.
This was a boxing match for a Game 1. It was not one-sided whatsoever, and this is a 5-game series I can get behind.
We walk away after Game 1 in the grand finals. These teams have played 6 games against each other. You want to know how many times Blue side has won? You want to hazard a guess?
100%.
I think it's a 100% win rate. I mean, credit to Top Esports. They tried to come up with something different. They banned away the Kalista on the red side. They wanted to go towards the Senna, try something different, because that was their downfall in the first series between these two. They can't quite make it happen. Still, great series of skirmishes. I really like what they did, particularly around those early grubs. They just couldn't quite manage to control the map as soon as all those outer turrets went down. Yeah, and I love that the story continues to be bot lane. Whoever got the kills early, I'm just saying, it took a long time to get there. Elk got first blood. But bot lane has been so important. I think there was a bit of an adaptation for